So yeah, I'm Joe, and I'm going to target 3 specific areas, kind of changes in who plays games, where we get games, and how we experience games. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of the game industry. It now generates more global revenue than both music and box office receipts. It's got double-digit year-over-year global sales. Right now it's at about $54 billion. About 21 of that is in North America. And the worldwide projection by 2012 is about $68 billion. So it's a big industry. So the first point is who plays games. And who used to play games was usually kids or males, teenagers in their 20s. They played them alone. Now it's switched to about 60% male, 40% female. Average age is 35. And the critical change was really the late 1990s with the introduction of the internet, and games became a lot more social. And this attracted the female demographic. And this kind of happened with online games. I'm not sure if you're familiar with online games, but basically what happened is they began to produce games that you would go online with other people, and in order to complete the games or be successful at the games, you needed to socialize. Before this, it was to complete games, like it was about how much you played, playing by yourself. It was a lot of skill-based games, but now it was you had to get together with people and cooperate, and that's how you'd complete the games. The second influence is kind of how do we experience games. I touched on this a little bit before. They've been limited to linear problem-solving experiences where people would just sit there and play and figure out puzzles and be by themselves. And now, because of new media, because of social networking, people expect to be able to customize their games. They expect to be able to socialize as part of their game experience. And so instead of just participating, they expect to really shape the game itself. I used the MySpace example because MySpace is a great example of, you provided the users with a tool, and they pretty much, they put all their skins on it. They, put their music on it. They wrote on it. They really expressed themselves through MySpace. And that's sort of, what people are looking for in games now. And that resulted in, online games. It resulted in browser-based games. And, the second way is a new genre, which I'll talk a little bit about, is the emergent genre. And, that's based on users really wanting to play the game their own way. They don't want to be shown, kind of led by the hand and say, this is how you have to play the game. They want to be given a set of tools and, play the game however they want. And this is a shameless plug for our latest game, which is in the emergent genre. And, all we did was we provided the users with, a set of tools. We provided them with a scenario, and we basically said, hey, you have every word that exists in the world to solve this puzzle, and how would you solve it? So an example is, there's a star in a tree, and basically you could write any word. You could write axe, you could cut the tree down, you could write beaver, he'd go and chew the tree. You could write lasso, you could lasso it out of the tree. So we didn't tell them how they could solve it. They basically thought of anything they could use, and that's how they solved it. And the third biggest change is in where we get games. They're traditionally retail box products. For most of their lives, you basically went to a store, you bought the game. You needed a specific game console to play them, or a PC. So now it's, games are everywhere. They're on your mobile phone, your iPhone, social networking sites, digital distribution, PCs and consoles. So you really can play games anywhere, get games, from different places, when before you had to go to a store. So yeah, and another really cool part about social networking, new media, is it really consolidated where people were. For games and other aspects of new media, it's like you got to reach people. But with Facebook, now it's like everybody's on Facebook. So if you make a Facebook game, you have access to everyone. You don't have to go out to 100 different sites to try and reach a lot of people. And the numbers are ridiculous for the amount of people. They play 19 million playing Mafia Wars, 11.4 million playing Farmville. Those are Facebook games. And I mean, if your game sells 1 million units normally, like a retail game that's very successful, like 5 million units, forget about it. And there's been only a handful of games ever that have sold 20 million units. So I mean, these are big numbers for games. And familiarity with internet downloading, which is also an aspect of new media, has increased digital distribution, which means you can get your games online. Users are more familiar with how to do that. And my outlook for 2012, cloud computing, which is yet to be talked about, is really exciting. For us, it pretty much means that you no longer need to have a console box. Like, you can pretty much just have a small little access point. You could play games anywhere, on any platform. I believe that the next console generation, 2 of the 3 hardware manufacturers, Sony, Microsoft, a majority of their sales are going to come from digital distribution. And it's not going to be the end of physical media, but I believe it's going to begin the end for physical media. And I really believe that games with internet and social networking is going to be finally like a true mass market embrace of games, for the next generation. I'm done.
Thank you. Joe, thank you very much.
Yeah.